Cinco de Mayo. Today is May 5th, 2020, and the workout today is 3 rounds. 1 minute ring rows, 1 minute hand release push-ups, 1 minute box jumps, step down, 1 minute burpees, and 1 minute of rest. So it's the same fashion as Fight Gone Bad, or for all our members, you know it as aerobic power intervals. The goal here is to keep track of your reps for each minute, and the only explicit rest is the 1 minute rest that follows the burpees. You can stop early if you want, or take little breathers within the minute. That's up to you. During the minute of ring rows, you are working on only ring rows, and at the beep, so at the minute mark, you move immediately into hand release push-ups. Okay, that's how that works. So take that into account when thinking of the movements that are difficult. Like the hand release push-ups might be the hardest for some people, or the ring rows. So I would estimate that those are probably the 2 hardest, whereas box jump and burpees are all about breathing. So, and on the burpees, you get a full minute of rest afterwards. So I would go till the beep on the burpees, like keep going until the beep stops you, and then rest for a minute. You want to push the burpees, but don't go so hard that you can't recover in a minute. And if I sprint and do 20-something burpees in that minute, a minute rest is not going to make me feel good enough to really get back to the same number of ring rows that I got previously. Okay, in the prep, we'll try to time this and see how many ring rows, or see how long ring rows and push-ups, all that take. Okay, the ring rows, again, if you're at home, make sure how I set this up is that the bottom of the ring is at the top of my hip. So that means if you have a TRX or something like that, the handle should be at the top of your hip, because that's going to make it the similar setup. So if I hang my TRX from the house, like the wall in my house or something, or from the door, and you say you put your feet up against the door, that's fine with me. But if your handles are way down here, you're making it a lot harder on yourself. If they're way up here, you're making it too easy. If you're at home, we're going to put our feet up against the wall of the door or whatever, and then this will be the RX ring row. If you choose to make it harder, that's up to you. You can always step in further if that's an option. The towel option, which I've described before, let's say you're in your garage, you have a towel, you put it around a vertical post, and I didn't check to make sure that it's sturdy, okay? That was on purpose, by the way. The goal here is that we are creative but safe. So I'm going to put plates on either side, and then I will be able to do my ring rows with my feet propped up. You could also do it with a horizontal pull, and you can pull this way. Okay? But again, do a half of a rep or something like that. Make sure it's safe. You could also do bent over rows with the dumbbells, barbells, or a case of water or a plate. Something like that is fine. Then hand release push-ups. The scaling option would be box push-ups or wall push-ups without the hand release, obviously. You could do knee push-ups, I guess, since you're home, but just so you know, I really don't like knee push-ups. Box jump could be scaled to step up. You would keep track you would keep track as if every rep on each leg was 1. So 1, 2, okay? And then burpees, you have to touch your chest to the ground, and then you have to put hands together overhead and do a little bit of a hop, just a little bit, okay? Just to make sure that your legs are coming up off the ground. Because if you just do these, that really shouldn't count, okay? And then, like I said, keep a whiteboard, because you're gonna have to keep track of all your reps. It's gonna be the combined total of those 4 stations from all 3 rounds. Okay, that'll be your score. The number of reps from all 4 stations, all 3 rounds. Let's go into the warm-up. Warm-up. 10 Samson lunge. What's a Samson lunge? I'm gonna interlock my fingers, put my palms to the sky. Step. 1, 2 for 10. Great. Cossack squat. Cossack squat, you're allowed to stay in this split stance, unlike the side lunge. I'm gonna point my toe up to the sky, sit back into my hips, drive my knee out towards my heel. Keeping my chest up, I really feel my groin and a little bit of my hamstring. That was 2, we're gonna do 10. 5 cherry pickers, take a wide stance, reach up, hinge at the hips, touch, reach further back, touch, reach further back, touch. That's 1. We're gonna do 5 of those. Next is 5 yogi squat to stand. We're gonna take a squat stance, touch our toes with knees locked, pull your butt down, and then throw your arms overhead. Hopefully you're more flexible than me. That was 1, we're gonna do 5. We're gonna do 5 inchworm, where we put our hands down, walk out to push-up position, walk back, and stand. 10 alternating Spider-Man push-ups. In a push-up position, lower down, bring your knee up. If you're not comfortable doing that, you can always just put your foot out, okay? Then wrist rolls. I'm really starting to like the wrist rolls. Makes my wrists feel better. Box stretch. I have an actual box, which is nice, so I'm gonna force my chest out, hinge at the hips. Then we'll do the wrist stretch and calf stretch. That's our warm-up. And then, okay. Sorry. Screen, my bad. Then we're gonna do 3 rounds. 10 alternating step-ups, 3 ring rows, and 3 burpee complex. The burpee complex involves kicking your feet back, doing a push-up, and then doing a squat. So, first, step up, try to get your heel on there, squeeze your butt, get the butt active. 3 ring rows. I'm gonna put my feet closest to the points of origin. I'll be in a hollow position, and then touch my chest, keeping my body hollow. Don't stick your chest out. That probably will happen later, but I would like you to stay as hollow as long as possible. Then 3 burpee complex. Turning to the side so you guys can really get a good look at this. You're gonna do hands on the ground, kick back, push up, stand up, air squat. That was 1. Again. That was 2. So 10 step-ups, 3 ring rows, 3 burpee complex. All right, if you want to set a timer for the specific prep, just get a running timer going, and then for the specific prep, do 5 or 6 reps of each movement. See how long it takes you at an easy pace, and that'll give you a rough idea of how many you might be able to knock out in a minute. So I'm gonna get my timer going. All right, it's going. I set myself up, fall back. 1, 2. I'm not putting my chest out. I'm not breaking at the waist or at the knees. I'm keeping my knees locked. I'm coming up in a hollow position. And I realize shoulders are in front of my chest, and then they still stay in front. That's okay, just like hollow, but my lats are engaged as I do that. Hand release push-ups. Again, my knees will not be the last thing to touch. So I go down, I throw my hands, back up. Your feet shouldn't come off the ground. If your feet are coming off the ground, you're probably rolling. And if I do this, you're really not gonna get better at push-ups. To get better at push-ups, your knees shouldn't even really touch the ground, okay? Stay up on the toes of your feet. One of the reasons that we do front-leaning rest, so front-leaning rest, which is this, see my toes? That gets me better understanding of shoulder stability in the push-up. Because when I do a push-up, I don't want to see people back on their heels. Sorry, can you see that? Yeah, back on your heels like this. This is not a good position. It should be up on the toes. And that way you are getting better at push-ups even throughout the workout. Okay, hand release, my chest is touching the ground, my core is still tight. Box jump, step down. Again, I'll reference one of the key things I see. Don't squat at the top of the box, meaning you don't need to get your butt below parallel when you do a box jump, unless you're super short to a high box. But as I'm 6'3", 6'4", and this is a 24-inch box, I don't need to squat. Okay? It's when people squat, doing that for even 3 minutes of box jumps is a lot on the knees. And it's box jump, step down, box jump. The burpees, we're gonna go chest to the ground. If you wanna do a step back burpee, you can do a step back burpee. Crawling counts, but hands overhead, standing all the way up, all right? And then a 1 minute rest. Hopefully you timed all of that, you got 5 or 6 reps, took a little breather between movements, and that way you got an idea of how long it's gonna take you, and maybe what rep range you're shooting for, all right? The strength of the day is bench press, 3 reps of 70% every minute 30 for 5 rounds. So that's 3 reps unbroken every minute 30. So 3 reps takes you 3 seconds. You have a minute 27 to rest. And then you're gonna do another set. 70% of your 1 rep max should be a lot. So 3 reps and then rest. It's just like the old days in the gym. LA Fitness, where you do a set and talk to the boys for 20 minutes. And hog the bench the entire time. Then the other accessory is 4 rounds of 6 rear foot elevated split squats. That's with the dumbbell in each hand. If you only have 1 dumbbell, hold it in the goblet. 8 back extensions, which is Superman. 6 Russian step-ups. A Russian step-up, remember, is where I pause at the top of knee up. Make sure that the leg that's down, the one you're stepping up with, locks out. So you're in this position, locked out, versus this position. And then the last movement is the glute bridge, okay? If you have any questions or comments or whatever, email me, DM, or comment on the bottom of this video. Thanks, guys. Cinco de Mayo, have a marg tonight after the workout.